Sorry, Councillor Gowdy, are you just able to turn your camera on? We're now live streaming. Thank you. That just ensures that we have quorum here. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to call the meeting to order. Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. These traditional lands as a gathering place of the First Peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the Indigenous people who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the county is committed to working with Indigenous people and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. So the first point, adoption of the agenda for the November 5th meeting. Could I get a motion for that? Nikki and also Janet. All in favor? Point 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. I don't believe we have anything under that. 4, adoption of the minutes from May 21st. Can I get a motion for that as well? Nikki and Bill. Okay, all in favor? We do have a presentation that Richard Allen will be.
No, it's under reports.
Oh, he's under reports. Okay, all right. Okay, so we have no deputations or presentations. We'll move on to reports. The first item is the Accessibility Advisory Committee, the Solution of Access Award. I guess we got 2 nominations. Did you want to speak to that then, Janet?
Sure. So it was just the 2 nominations that was received this year for the Access Award. Those 2 were, sorry, just give me 1 minute to open them up. So it was New Leaf Link, which was the first one that came in. And then there was also the Hotel Wolf Island, which came in as well. So the award nominations were distributed to the committee. I would note that New Leaf Link has already received the award once before, back in 2018. So it's just up for discussion from the committee as to who they would like to select this year. And perhaps, Ms. McDonald, you may like to speak to the Hotel Wolf Island. I know that that was in your township, and you may wish to just speak to some of the upgrades that they've done.
Yes, thank you, Jeanette. The Hotel Wolf Island, like most of the businesses in our county, a small business that was badly affected by the pandemic, and even worse for the businesses on Wolf Island. With the ferry moving out of the village for 4 years, it was very difficult to attract business. And one of the things the Hotel Wolf Island did during this downtime was look at affordable improvements that could be made to the property, in addition to work that they had already undertaken in creating a space called the Wolf Island Commons that is open to the entire community and fully accessible for anybody in wheelchairs or using mobility devices. They've done improvements to the waterfront patio area. They have probably the best accessible washrooms on the island that are available to customers and non-customers alike, which is rare. And what they've been doing in the past year is making an accessible entrance to the hotel itself well known to the community, and staff had been asked to open it on demand because they don't have the infrastructure to install an automated door. They also make meeting spaces available free of charge for community charities on the island, which lets people like me attend meetings that I wouldn't otherwise be able to go to because so many of the buildings here are not accessible. And they're always open to suggestions from the community. I did ask them last year if they could install handrails out the front of the building, because some of us can negotiate stairs with a cane if there's a sufficiently strong handrail available. And they've installed new handrails fairly recently as well. So I put this forward just to recognize a business that's working within the limitations of their budget and an historic building to improve accessibility kind of bit by bit.
Well, it is nice actually to see another location on Wolf Island made accessible. There's not a whole lot of options over there sometimes when you go. So that was great. I myself was sort of excited when I saw that. In regards to the award, I think because New Leaf Link has won it in the past, and clearly because they've made some, they put a lot of effort into making some modifications to the hotel. Would you agree that maybe we would go with Hotel Wolf Island then, and maybe just give New Leaf Link honorable mention during the presentation?
Well, Mr. Chair, if I can speak to that, I just want to, I guess, reinforce the comments that Georgina's made. It's very rare for public places like restaurants or whatever to make their washrooms accessible to non-customers. And I think the fact that they've recognized the need in the community, I think sort of gives them an extra bonus. So I'd certainly support your recommendation.
So we just need a motion for this, for a mover and a seconder.
I see Councillor Gowdy's got her hand up. Perhaps she could be move the motion, and I'd be happy to second it.
All right, and all in favor then? Okay. Super. Thank you. So under the staff briefing then, was Richard going to present?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me know when you're all set, Jeanette, on your end. And greetings to the committee through the chair. I'm going to make a relatively short presentation just to go over some of the projects that we've done this year, most of which we've spoken about prior earlier this year. And so we were sort of reporting on the outcomes of those projects so that the committee can be aware of the efforts that we've made in terms of accessibility on the K&P Trail. So if you want to move to the next slide, we're going to talk about three things: modifications that we've made to the gate structures on the K&P Trail to improve safety and accessibility. The Google Street View project, where we went out to capture the K&P Trail digitally, and trail rehabilitation. So we did some construction work this fall, which is improving the surface of the trail and to the standard that we've set throughout the rest of the county. So if you want to move to the next slide, please. So when we talk about the gates, our goal was to make the gates more accessible by improving the safety and access for all users. So the goal was to change the gate layouts by improving the width of access and removing barriers to entry. So if you see the before and after photos on this slide here, on the left, you can see we removed a post that we used for chaining the gate closed, and we installed a different locking mechanism in the right-hand photo. What that does is really make the surface of the trail here at this location more level and provide a bit more space for users to navigate through the opening and the gate. So this was a relatively simple opening that we were able to adjustment that we were able to make with the existing gate structure here. Next slide, please. This one was a particularly difficult location where we had a gate that was leaning, so it wasn't as visible. But what it did was it was right at a water course, and it forced trail users actually off the surface of the trail onto a sloped embankment near a thorny tree. And then back on, and you would have difficulty getting through with even your standard mobility devices, but even with a bicycle trailer or a recumbent bicycle or that sort of thing. And so, if you look at the picture on the right, we completely modified the gate. It's pushed it away from the water course, so it's about 10, 20 meters away from the water course. And what it is now two structures that can be opened with a clear width of 1,500 millimeters, or a meter and a half, essentially. And so much safer, keeping our trail users on the level surface in the center of the trail, and making that avoiding pitting them towards the slope and into the water, essentially, at this location. Next slide, please. Here at Bell Rock Road, this is in Verona. We did a similar modification, but you can see a little bit more how that modification was made. So similar to at Graham Road, we had a tight width with the railing and the way that the posts were split. Not far to the left of the screen is another embankment. So we were again directing trail users coming over the bridge over the embankment, and we've actually heard that this gate was low enough that it was difficult to see in certain light because of the vegetation around the area, and because of how low it was. And so we've raised the gate up, and we've also added that wider clear width in the middle, so it's on the standard path of travel for folks, so they can stay away from the sloped embankments. We did all of this work with existing gate structures that we already had, so we didn't purchase anything new. We had a few that weren't in use, so we were able to cut off the ends of a few gate structures to and repurpose and replace them into new locations. And so that's how we were able to achieve this work as we had planned and presented to the committee back in May. Next slide, please. When it comes to, we're also trying to improve the visibility of the gates by adding signage right onto the gates. So the white parts of the signage will be in reflective paint, so they'll be highly reflective for evening and nighttime viewing, and there'll be signs on both sides of the gate. So what you're looking at in the larger photo on the top here is a branded sign on the left side that shows the uses that are permitted, and then the wayfinding signage, which we're required to have, that has the accessibility information. You can't read it on the slide here, but on the top it has the running slope, the cross slope, the surface of the trail material, what the trail material is along this segment of the trail that's depicted in the map, essentially. We also, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, on that map there, does it tell the distances between, like, say the entrance that say where you're looking at the map at that entrance to maybe the next entrance?
That's correct. It
So
does.
that you know how far you would have to travel?
That's correct. It does. It show that's the other thing it shows is so it'll show this segment length is one of those pieces that's along the top of the wayfinding sign, and those are all required under the design for public spaces regulation in the AODA. So if you're looking on the sign on the right, the information across the top of that sign is the sign is that information I was just describing. And then on the reverse of the signs, we have the information for letting people know that there's a stop upcoming because it's a road, and which road they're arriving to. And as they cross that road, they would see another set of gates with their wayfinding information about where to go, essentially. So if you go to the next slide, please. So we in some of the locations we have longer gates still, and so this is how that would be applied in that location. And the accessibility information is in the top right hand corner of there. So we're trying to keep it in relatively consistent areas on the slides as well, so people know where to look for that information. Next slide, please. So before I move on from the slides, any from the gates, any questions about the gates project or thoughts at this stage?
The new gates look nice actually because they don't seem to sag just from they're a bit lighter, right? So they're not quite as long, and they look a bit tidier too. So yeah, it's a nice improvement.
Certainly, our observation is that we would love to make all of our gates those two gate structures. They just feel more natural to what we're trying to do. So we'll keep that in mind. But we were trying to make use of existing materials and not purchase new materials for this project, and so we only had the ability to adjust about half the gates, and so we had a couple spare gates at the end of the project so we've decided to go back out and make those two gates at a few locations where it makes sense.
It certainly looks like a nice improvement.
Thank you. Moving on to the Street View project. So again, we briefed the committee about this in May. Our summer student, Joseph, led this project, figured it out, how to capture the footage, how to upload the footage, what the challenges were with that footage. And we were able to get most of the KMP trail added to Google Street View. And so what you're looking at here is a picture of Google Maps, and not sure how familiar you are with it, but in the bottom right-hand corner, you can pick up a little person with your mouse, and when you drag it over a road or a trail, in this case, it will light up where that has a street view available for you to drop it on. So you can see the little person in the center below the word Piccadilly here, and where we're dropping it. And I just wasn't sure if you were familiar how to use Street View in Google, so I thought I'd chat you through that a little bit. If we go to the next slide. So once you're dropped onto the trail, you can see this kind of view, and it's a 360 view, so you can actually rotate and look completely to the east, to the west, to the north, from every location that we have uploaded along the trail. And we have about 85% of the trail uploaded at this stage. We ran into some challenges with tree cover and capturing GPS signal with our footage, and we weren't able to connect to the satellites in some locations, and so we have to maybe go back out at this time of year where we don't have any leaves on the trees to recapture some of those locations. So this is just north of Titchburn, a location on the trail as it travels through a wetland. And if we go to the next slide, please. Here's a location just south of Harrowsmith. This is a very popular rock cut that gets traveled very regularly on the trail as well. Next slide, please. One of the things that we realized halfway through the project was that we were capturing the footage of the trail before we did the gate changes, and so now we have new gates that look differently than the gates that are on the trail, and our new gates are probably more accessible. So the whole purpose was to allow people to see if they would be comfortable or able to go on the trail by connecting with using Street View. So we'll have to go back out shortly and at least update the locations where we have gates with the new gate with the new gates, so that that information is accurate and up to date. So that was an initial discovery that we made halfway through the project here. And I think that's all I have on the Street View. Any questions about the Street View project?
Do you just find the Street View by Googling KMP Trail?
So yeah. So if you go into Google Maps and you search for KMP Trail, or you search in an area that you are interested in going on the trail, you can find it on Google Maps. And then to view the Street View area, I think sometimes you can just click on the trail, like double click on the trail where it is, or there is, as I said, in the bottom corner of your Street View, there'll be of your Google Maps, there's a little yellow avatar person, and you can pick it up and drag it over and place it on the map where you'd like to see the Street View. And then once you're in Street View, you can kind of click on little arrows that pop up that will show you that the segments of the trail as you move along. Happy to take you through that more directly if you'd like at another time, Chair.
That's okay. It sounds like it's pretty easy to explore with, so I'll check that out sometime.
Great. Any other questions about the Street View project? I will note that in our report, we used this this technology to update some streets that were available on Howe Island. We weren't able to get the full main road because our GPS and our phones that were using the GPS switched to US carriers, and so we have to be a little bit more intentional about how we do that, but we'll be able to capture it. Again, it takes a little more preparation than what we had there. But we added the entire street network of Charlotte Lake, which was not available. They only had 38 prior to this, and so we were able to add the entire street network of Highway 38. And then this camera is being used by Central Frontenac to provide 360 tours of their community buildings as well, and so that's an interesting and exciting project too. So these is a relatively inexpensive tool, but it takes a bit of time to capture the footage, process the footage, and upload it in an appropriate way. And there are other ways to make use of this footage other than just Google Maps, and you can create your own applications using GIS software, or you can create videos that are 360 videos as well instead of just photos. So we'll have much more that we can learn and explore with this technology as we go forward. Finally, just a brief conversation about KMP Trail rehabilitation. This past month, we rehabilitated from Clarendon Station north into North Frontenac to the Mississippi River. It's about an 8-kilometer stretch of trail that we rehabilitated. You can see here, well, the big pine tree is on different sides of the trail, so the photo isn't the exact same location. It's one's on one side of the tree and one's on the other side of the tree. One's looking north, one's looking south. This is the same section of trail. And you can see that the improvement from a large gauge, river stone to a compacted stone dust surface is a vast improvement in terms of improving the safety and ability for other people to be on this section of the KNP trail. It's a bit more remote up there, so we see a bit more of the motorized users and the cycling up there, but it is now up to the standard that we've set further south, which is an accessible standard on the trail. Next slide, please. Just like on the gates, we'll be using our wayfinding system. We don't have gates in this section, so these are signs that are 24 inches by 32 inches, and they include the accessibility information that I described earlier along the left-hand side. They show what kinds of uses are permitted on the bottom. They show where the kilometer markers are and what the length of this segment is going to be. And we have these signs located throughout the trail at every intersection so that people are able to understand where they're going and what might be ahead. And if there's any change in slope that's more significant than 3 or 4%, we usually highlight that on the sign so that people are aware of what they can see, what they might encounter on this segment of the trail. Next slide, please. Just before I ask for questions, the other thing that we're doing as we rehabilitate is edge protection. So that's we have a post and rail and knee-high fence that we place at locations that are at risk for trail users to maybe fall down a steep slope or into the water. Now, there's a lot of slopes on the KNP trail, so we prioritize the higher risk areas for the insertion of edge protection because it's simply not feasible to add it to the entire trail. So in this section, we've added about 800 meters of edge protection to keep people on the trail in locations that are important. Any questions about trail rehabilitation or the process from there from an accessibility perspective?
Not for me. What are the signs made out of?
The signs? So the signs are made out of, so they're aluminum.
Aluminum, okay. Janet, you had a question?
Yes. Excellent presentation and wonderful work. Thank you very much, Mr. Allen. My question is about the wayfinding signs, which are just jam-packed with useful information. Are these available online for examination? I'm relatively new to the area, so the first time I go, I want to do preparation and pick a fairly short length to explore.
So we have maps that are use a similar template that are available online for download. If you go to kptrail.ca, and it doesn't work in those addresses. It'll take you to the county website that has the maps and some other useful information about the trail. And so you can download, I think we have a series of about 8 maps up to Clarendon Station. I haven't added the map for this section yet to make use of and take a look at where the information you're looking for. And if you have any recommendations for information to include or improve in those maps, I'm happy to take a stab at that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Richard. That was that was great. It looks like there's a lot of hard work being done there.
Well, thank you for your questions and your suggestions as always, and I'm sure we'll have more projects to share with you in the spring.
Super. Great, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to township updates. I don't think that there's any updates other than,
It's missing, there was two reports there. So this one is just the report for the trail and this one was the update report.
oh, okay, and did you want to speak to that then?
So just in terms of the update report that is coming from the county, the information is in the report there, but if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Just the updates were some follow-ups in terms of recommendations that the committee had made with this new building that we have. The second one again is that we are keeping up our website with accessible documents. So one of the key things there is that we upload root documents, such as Word format. When we do upload PDFs, if there are PDFs, we have no issue remediating them. The issue comes with when we're receiving PDFs from external agencies, such as consulting reports or even documents that come from the province. They're simply not in an accessible format. So when they do need to go up on the website, on a council agenda or committee agenda, we just put that little disclaimer there that the information is not in an accessible format, but that it is available upon request. The other thing there as well is just our annual accessibility status report. So that will be coming, staff have started pulling together some of the information that the committee has looked at over the year. And we will have that report ready in draft format for the committee at its next meeting. And then the last one there, it just happened to be a news article that we came across. And we do have Adam here for the Township of North Frontenac if he did want to speak to it. But it's just that the township had received a grant in the amount of $19,435 to install fully accessible entrance doors at their community hall. So again, it was a news article, a press release from John Jordan's office back in September, but we just thought it would be of interest to the committee. And those were the only updates that were provided in the report, but happy to answer any questions if there are any.
All right, thank you very much. I guess we'll move on to 8 then. I don't think we have any communications.
No, there are no
All
communications.
right, or other business. I guess we'll just move on to the next meeting date then.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I will be working with the townships. There has been a suggestion that we try and get our quarterly meetings into the schedules a year in advance. So we're going to look at some dates, probably January, April, June, July, and then one that fits into November. We do like to try and fit it into the November meeting because that's when the Access Award typically becomes due. So we'll look at quarterly meetings and then we'll send those out to the committee.
Okay, super. Right, so I guess we'll adjourn the meeting then. I get a motion to, okay, Councilor Nikki Gowdy, and I'll second. And all in favor? All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil and Jeanette. Bye, everyone.
Take care.